A very good morning to you all. Thanks for joining us for this webinar this morning. I'm Twinkle Sebastian. I'm leading the information security practice for the organization. So we will have a quick introduction about Kano Elite before we start the webinar. So Kano Elite is Kano Elite is an 18-year-old company based in Saudi Arabia, and we have operations in Bahrain. We are part of YBA Kano Group, having offices in Riyadh, Dammam, and Asif. We have almost 650 customers in both the countries and have references across all the verticals. We have 300 plus employees in the roles, including the governance team, the pre-sales, and the technical team. We need to ensure, whatever we do is consistent and repeatable. So to ensure that, we will help by doing the implementing, the improving the processes that adheres to ISO 27001, ISO 20000 to make sure that our processes are repeatable and consistent. So how we deliver the value proposition here is, we have three pillars that we set up here. One is the envision, the engage, and the evolve space. The envision is all about, the governance services like ISO certifications, doing IT risk assessment, BCPDR, application assessment, red teaming as some of the services that we offer in the envisioning part. With reference to the engagement, here we are talking about the product and the partnership. We work with 60 plus products, in both these countries put together, and our, the teams have the capability to deliver the implementation and the support services. The evolvement part is about the managed services component of Kano Elite, where we are focusing on the SOC services, the resource augmentation, and the managed CISO services are some of the major deliverables here. So combining this end-to-end service portfolio, we make sure that an organization who require any security services, Kano Elite have the capability to deliver. Thereby, we can reduce their biggest risk and improving the productivity organization as well as in reducing a lot of costs. So being a trusted advisor to the client, we have seen, coming to the agenda of today's meeting, what we have seen is, enterprises have challenges in running an effective security awareness training programs to their employees. So we have partnered with Kano Elite in addressing the customer's pain point. So to talk about Kano Elite, about the KnowBe4, we are the world's, KnowBe4 is the world's largest integrated platform for security awareness training, and combined with the simulated phishing attacks. So where Kano's team, along with the KnowBe4 team, helps organization in designing the program, actioning out the plan, and make sure that your programs, is successful. So with us joining today, Mr. Jelly. He's a security evangelist with KnowBe4, and he travels across the globe to give talks to promote the role of humans in security. The human factor is often one of the most forgotten subjects in information security. So, and uncovering the human factor is a subject he will be covering with us today. Also, we have Mr. Hisham, who will be supporting us with the demo, after the first half an hour session with Jelly. So, team, feel free to shoot us any questions you may have in the comment box. We will be answering these questions during the session. So over to you, Jelly. Kindly, take us through your to the subject.
Sure. First of all, thank you for allowing us to do this. It's always a great pleasure to be at events like this. I'll share my screen as well, so we can dive right in. If everything is okay, you can see both me, hear me, and see my screen all at the same time. We're going to talk about the human factor in cybersecurity today. We all know people, process, technology. Well, we're the people, as I usually call ourselves. So my presentation is called Uncovering the Human Factor. And that's basically what we're going to do. We're going to look at everything that's involved with cybersecurity from the human element side. Now, first things first, this is me. I've already been introduced, but just to be complete, my role is that of a security evangelist. I'm not a sales rep. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to tell you basically how we view security from the human aspect, what you can do to strengthen it, to strengthen your security posture on that side, and to give you tips and tricks, but also to answer all of your questions, because that is what I do on a daily basis. I talk to our customers, I go to events, I present to large groups of people, and I talk to analysts and other organizations that are in the security space to see how we can basically make the world a safer place. That's in the end what we're all doing. So next to that, I lead all the PR activity in Europe, Middle East, and Africa, but that's just a managerial function. So about KnowBe4. For those of you that don't know KnowBe4 yet, we're a US-based company originated from Clearwater in Florida. We've been around since 2010, so we've been doing this for quite a while. And our sole focus, we're 100% pure play player in the security space, where we focus on everything to do with making sure that people understand security better, so the human aspect. Our background is that of antivirus, which simply gives us a lot of insight into the technology side of cybersecurity as well, because it's needed that we understand all aspects of it. And we've been doing this for such a long time that we're privileged to be able to actually service tens of thousands of customers on a global basis. Now, what do we do exactly? Well, we help organizations to manage the ongoing problem of social engineering. The one key word in this is ongoing, because what we see is that social engineering isn't going away. And we expect it isn't going away for a long, long time. It's been around since the birth of cybersecurity, since the birth of IT, actually. And the problem with is that there is no technology solution to it. There's nothing that solves the problem of social engineering. We can only help manage it. Now, that's something that you need to understand properly, because a lot of customers ask me, so if I just buy this, I'm done, I've got a solution to the problem, it will go away. Unfortunately, it won't. There simply isn't a solution. And that's because what it does, social engineering targets us, humans. Social engineering basically is the act of exploiting human weaknesses. And they do it to gain access to confidential systems or to data. And those cyber criminals understand the way we as humans work very well. They understand what makes us tick. They understand what drives us. And they try to exploit those little elements in order to get to what they want, which again is mostly data or getting access to systems. Now, what we do to help you manage this problem is we enable your employees to make smarter security decisions. So it's not a box that you implement and you're done. It's not a technology in itself. What we provide is a platform, a learning management system, which has content in it, which tells your users what the threats are out there. It teaches them how to detect those threats. It teaches them how to make smarter security decisions, to have secure behavior. They understand what they should and shouldn't do. And we have an automated phishing platform, which then tests this knowledge, tests these new skills. So it's learning and testing, and that's what we do. And in the end, your users are able to display safer security behavior. Now, for those of you, everybody, I think, is kind of up to know what social engineering is. Because even if you open your own private email inbox, you'll see social engineering attempts. You'll see phishing emails that are directed to you. If you use social media or if you use social messaging, things like WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger, for instance, or even LinkedIn, which is a business platform, but one of the most widely used platforms for social engineering, you'll see attempts to social engineer you. You'll see emails sent by cyber criminals or by bots, because a lot of the phishing emails especially are done automatically. It's one person setting up a bot that sends out millions of emails at the same time. But you'll notice that phishing is all around. And we've got three forms of phishing here. We've got phishing via email, which basically is phishing with the P in the word. We've got smishing, which is the S stands for SMS. It's kind of old nowadays. We do it through Facebook and WhatsApp, etc. And we've got phishing with a V, which is voice phishing, which still happens. Think the Amazon scam, where you get a phone call from the Amazon support desk or the Microsoft support desk, And they try to basically, in the end, get money out of you. That's what they do. But social engineering also includes physical acts as well. Things like gaining entry physically to your building, or gaining entry to a meeting where they can spy on what's happening or they can sabotage what's happening. It's acts like tailgating, where they'll use your credentials to get into a building site. So it's both digital and physical combined. Now, social engineering, it actually is rather simple. And that's the problem with it, because social engineering leverages your emotions, the emotions that each of us as humans have. And those emotions have been developed over millions of years. So it's really hard for us to shut down those emotions. It's really hard for us to change our behavior that's innate to who we are. And the cyber criminals out there leverage this. So they leverage things like greed. Think about it. Maybe you've seen an ad where you're offered, hey, you've won a prize, you've won a free iPhone or something else. That's the greed factor they're trying to get into. Or they're trying to leverage urgency. Then you get, for instance, a phishing email that tells you, look, your password is expiring. Please click here to change it. Or your account has been hacked. Please click here to change it. What they try to do is they put some urgency in the messaging. So they try to make you act really quickly. So leveraging those base emotions is key to social engineering. Now, social engineering in itself has been around for a long time. And the biggest issue is that it's the biggest problem around. Out of all of the cyber attacks that happen on both individuals and companies, social engineering, including phishing, is by far the biggest attack vector out there. They leverage humans in their attacks most of the time. It's not that they'll attack your firewall or send you a virus straight out. It's not what's happening. Around 70 to 90% of all attacks, all successful attacks that happen out there, start with the human. And that's why we as an industry, but also all of the organizations that are our customers, need to combat this, because it's growing. Every year, every new report that we see that social engineering is growing as an attack vector. So it's important that we understand that it's not all about the technology. It's not all about compliance and all of the policies. The human needs to be actively supported in being an active part of your security posture. The way we describe it is, we like to activate your employees to become human firewalls. And it's this human firewall that can actually be a real benefit to your organization. Now, today, if you look at all of the attacks, where they used to only work with, for instance, email, simple emails that you were sent, and if you didn't click, you were done, you weren't compromised. Nowadays, the cyber criminals have whole new attack vectors that they can use. They can use AI, artificial intelligence, to build deepfakes, and we're slowly starting to see this happening. The last year, the real first social engineering attack using deepfakes in the US occurred. And we're slowly starting to see that all of the cyber criminals and all of their organizations, they have the money, they have the resources, and they have the time to slowly develop deepfakes and slowly start leveraging those in their campaigns. And the issue with deepfakes is, well, if you think that it's hard for an email to detect for an email whether it's from a cyber criminal or not, think about it. If you get a video of somebody that you know that looks really good, that looks really authentic, well, it's even harder to detect that it's a phishing email. Or think about when you get a phone call from somebody, from a voice that you understand, that actually is able to communicate with you and answer your questions. That's something that you can do with deepfakes, audio deepfakes. You can build those, you can build bots out of them. Now, the technology today isn't to the point that we are really, as an industry, we are really concerned about this. But give it 2-3 years, give it the advances that technology is making, and it will be a real threat. So it's time for us to start educating people and educating employees, consumers, about what the threats in these are. And the same goes for things like IoT. We see that IoT has entered the home. Think about Google Home or Alexa. Those type of things are there today. Everybody buys them. So you've got AI in your home. What if that part of your home gets compromised? Today, it's usually a gadget, a gimmick, where you can ask questions to the box or control your lights. But if you have a smart fridge that has a lock on it, an electronic lock, if somebody ransoms that fridge and your medicines are in there, well, then you have an issue because you can't access those medicines. And that becomes life threatening. So there are certain elements of IoT that we need to make sure that our users are safe against, that they know about and they know how to react to. Actually, deepfakes have become such an issue that the FBI this year in March has issued a warning, a global warning, where they introduced a new term. People are usually familiar with business email compromise, BEC, where they send you an email or usually send the finance department an email and try to extort money from that company. Well, the next evolution is here, and it's called business identity compromise, BIC, where they leverage deepfakes to do the same effect. But now they send a voicemail to that company in the voice of the CEO, for instance, asking the financial department to transfer some money. Or even worse, they do a video call built out of deepfake videos. The FBI is starting to see this, and they've decided to warn the world. And we as an industry think that's really smart to do. Because so if you haven't looked at it yet, look up BIC on the internet, figure out what impact it can have on your industry, and take action. Now, I already said there's no silver bullet, no technology that can solve social engineering, unfortunately. And one of the reasons for this is that what we see in the attacks that are happening with social engineering is that they become more sophisticated. They're becoming more complex. And we can't, as an industry, as a defensive industry, can't figure out technical solutions quickly enough to combat those new attacks. And that's why technology doesn't really work. Those bad guys have months to prepare one attack. Then the attack happens. We have to figure out technology to combat this. It takes months to develop that technology. And by the time we have an effective solution, hey, they just have to tweak their attack a little bit, and it's a whole new attack which our defenses can't handle. A good example of this is ransomware. When ransomware was introduced, it took a good 4 years before the industry was able to get a good technology solution to combat ransomware, well, at least a little bit. And what you see today is there are so many strains of ransomware, so many strains of attack, that there's no technology out there that can successfully harness ransomware altogether. There's no 100% security, and there never will be. So technology won't save you in this, unfortunately. That's why we need to train the user. It's good to understand how social engineering works, because there's some basics out there which, if we tell those to the user, they'll start recognizing it. And one of the models we use in the industry is the model of Dr. Daniel Kahneman. He actually wrote a book called Thinking Fast and Slow. If you haven't read the book yet and you're interested in how to manipulate people, definitely buy it and read it. It's a good book. In this book, there's a model like this. It's a two-system thinking model. And the two-system thinking model actually is fairly easy. On the one hand, you've got system one thinking. And system one thinking is designed to automatically and continuously scan your environment and make decisions for you. It's a very rapid process. It's subconscious. You don't even need to think about using it. For instance, you use it when driving a car. You can drive a car and you nearly automatically do certain things. If you want to avoid something, you pull your steer. If you see a car stopping in front of you, you hit the brakes. And this system one thinking is really quickly. It's fast, but the downside is it's very error prone. You make mistakes using system one thinking. System two thinking, on the other hand, is the total opposite. It's slow, but it's able to do very complex things. Mathematics. If you have a really, really hefty equation, that's when you use system two thinking. It's not automatic. You actually have to force yourself to use it. For instance, you use it when you want to control your emotions. If you're very upset about something or you're angry about something, think back to that period. You really have to force yourself to calm down. That's what system two thinking does. It also costs a lot of energy to do this. If you've been very mad or upset about something, and once you've calmed down, you're very tired as well. And that's because system two thinking actually takes effort, takes energy, but it's really reliable. It gets you good results in the end, and you're able to do very complex things. Now, cyber criminals understand these two systems very well. They understand that system one is their friend and system two is their enemy. So what they want to do when they design their phishing or smishing campaigns is they design it in such a way that they try to get you to use system one thinking all the time and try to eliminate system two thinking. They don't want you to think before you click. They just want you to click that link that they provide. That's why the link is there. It's convenience. It's simple. They create an email with, for instance, your password has been hacked, a simple query, and then they include an action. Click that link. And once you click that link, it's too late. That brings you to another website, which has a virus behind it, or it actually allows you to fill in some information that they can use, for instance, in credential theft. And the whole essence is they don't want you to think before you click. That's why all of the anti-phishing campaigns that you see from governments globally and from organizations is they always tell you to think before you click. And that's why they want you to use system two thinking to figure out, is this an email that I can trust? Is this sent by somebody I can trust? Is it sent at an hour of the day in which I would normally receive this email? If you get an email from your colleague asking you to do something and it's 3:00 in the morning, and they definitely don't work at 3:00 in the morning, can you trust that email? Well, usually no. But that thought process, that's something that cyber criminals want to eliminate. That's the basics of how social engineering works. Another thing that cyber criminals tend to do is they follow the media. So when we saw COVID-19 rear its ugly head back in 2019, we saw an immense increase in phishing attacks that were using COVID-19 as a topic. Things like, would you like to see the latest figures and statistics from your region? Click here. Emails that really were designed around the topic of COVID-19. In the Middle East, it was actually a real big bang where we saw over 2.5 million new phishing attacks in Q2, so 3 months, 2020 alone. That's immense. It's over 400 times more than we regularly see. So COVID-19, using that media topic was a real driver. Another example of a phishing email that we saw in the Middle East was an attack where they leveraged Netflix, which is really popular. This video streaming service is used by millions of people in the region. So what they decided, hey, we'll create a phishing attack where we'll tell people we've now created Netflix in Arabic. Click here to go to the website, and then you actually, this screenshot that you see to the right is actually the screen the pop-up that you saw. Fill in your credentials for Netflix, your true credentials, and you're in. Well, guess what? You filled out your credentials, gave them your login and your password, pressed enter or pressed the red button to get in, and nothing happened. The only thing that did happen is you gave your credentials to Netflix to other people, which they then either sold on Darknet, or even worse, they try to reuse those credentials on other websites. Because that's what usually happens. People, especially consumers nowadays, have to look at hundreds of websites where they need to create passwords, where they need to create credentials. So they reuse their credentials from other websites. Cyber criminals understand this, and what they do is the minute they get credentials from you, they have bots for this, they automatically see if other websites can be logged in using those credentials. That's why you don't want to reuse credentials. Use a password manager. It's cheap, it's good, and it really does help. Now, as organizations, we leverage compliance. As countries, nation states, they issue compliance and regulations in order to get companies to comply. Now, we, as KnowBe4, if an organization asks me which one should I follow, because you've got millions out there, we usually refer them to NIST, because NIST is a globally accepted framework for cybersecurity. It encompasses everything you need to have, and it's basically well developed. In NIST, what you see the 5 pillars: identity, protect, detect, respond, and recover. So in the protect column, you'll see that there's awareness and training. Now, local regulations, things like SAMA, most banking regulations basically that try to prevent fraud or money laundering services, they also include awareness and training in their compliance settings. That's why most larger organizations do this. Now, it's very cool for a compliance setting and a regulation to tell you to do this. That doesn't tell you how to do it, though. And that's where it sometimes gets sketchy. They require you to do it, but don't give you enough mandate or give you enough instructions on how to do it. That's where we come in as KnowBe4. That's where we try to help organizations to do it in the best way possible. And the best way isn't always do the maximum. Now, the best way is look at where your risk profile is for your organization specifically. Start training with those risk profiles. So look at the biggest leak in your organization and start closing that leak. That's what we usually tell organizations. And that's what you can use the platform for. That's where you can use our product for. Now, NIST also, and that's one of the beauties of NIST is very innovative. And one of the things NIST introduced this year is they not only tell you you should train, but they also told you, look, if you start training people, do it in the most realistic way possible. So don't tell people you're going to train them, because a cyber criminal is not going to do that either. They're not going to send you a warning like, hey, you're going to get a phishing email. That's not how it works. What they do is train multidimensional. That's what you want to do. You don't only want to train against phishing emails. You also want to look at phishing. You also want to look at physical security. And maybe if you test the skills of your users, you want to test all of those different angles at once in one simulated attack. Not only send them a phishing email, but also see if they have a password on a sticky note in the desk that you can use, or maybe give them a call via voicemail or whatever. Make it a multi-dimensional attack, because that's what happens in real life as well. And not only target the whole group, but, and you usually have to do this with permission of HR specifically and management, target divisions or departments. Go do a spear phishing attack, because that's what happens in real life. Spear phishing is a targeted phishing attack, and it'll happen sooner or later, so it's good if they're prepared. So in short, what NIST tells you to do is, if you do your simulated engineering attacks, make sure it reflects real-world threats. That's what you want to train for. That's what helps. Now, before you start testing and before you even start training, there's a couple of things you need to know. One of the things is you need to make sure that your organization is with you, on your side, and especially the executive level. Executive level is very hard to get support for. And it's one of the key things that you need to be successful with your total cybersecurity program. So how do you do it? Well, one of the things what you need to do is, and that's the key thing, the key trick that I usually do at customers, is make sure that the executive level understands the value that cybersecurity and specifically security awareness training brings to your organization. And you do this not by simply telling them, you do it by proving it to them. Make sure you get the right results. You get statistics and reports to baseline where you stand today and where you want to go. You create a security awareness program where you tell people, look, we're here at this certain stage and we want to grow. Our mission, our goal is to get to point XYZ. And that XYZ you need to define in advance so everybody knows when you are successful. And one of the other things that you need to do is, most executive level members will be willing to help you. They just need to be told how they can help you. So don't only ask for help, but make sure you actually tell them what help looks like, whether it's budgets, whether it's making sure they're advocates to your program in the organization and tell everybody that it's needed and how helpful it is, or whether it is that they allow you as security operations or IT operations to basically hop on different projects and be involved in those projects as a key member. Those are the type of things that you need to do to gain executive support. What we also need to do is you need to make sure that security awareness is embedded in your organization. Now, here you see a real live example of one of our customers where they created a cartoon figure, in this case called the Little Phantom. And this Little Phantom has different iterations depending on what they need it for. And this Phantom figure comes through in all of their campaigns. It's actually pretty cool. They give you a certificate of completion if you finish the course. Little Phantom is on there. They have specific screens. If you get a 404 page, if you go to a website that doesn't exist, for instance, it's a page with the Phantom on there. They have specific swag that you can get. For instance, a coffee mug that you can use at work. It's your coffee mug, and it can be a prize for completing something. They have mouse mats that you can use. They have screen protectors, camera protectors. In everything they do, they created a security awareness program where the phantom is the driver. And because they have this little phantom, it's recognizable. And if something is recognizable, people can start aligning to it. People can recognize themselves in it, and people start living it. And that's the thing. Security awareness training isn't a one-time thing. You don't do a security awareness training and then you're done. It needs to be a continuous process within your organization. And having something like this phantom, a mascot, allows you to tie everything back to that mascot. That whole program is built on that. And it gets a life cycle of its own. That's one of the tricks that you can really do to embed it in your organization. Another trick is measure to improve, meaning make sure that you measure how your program is doing and communicate that back to your organization. Involve your organization in the results. Tell them whether they're doing it right. Tell them when they're doing it wrong and help them if they're doing it wrong. Help correct those mistakes to make sure that you're continually growing towards success. The minute you start involving people and communicating to them where they stand, what they do, and more importantly, what's in it for them, why should they help you out? That's when you start seeing that security awareness is embedded in your organization and you start getting support. And then you can really start training. And training is very cool. Some organizations just get everybody into the same room, feed them pizza, and give them a presentation. I don't think that's the best way to do it. I feel that if you do it where you are more digitized, when you allow people to train where and when they want on a digital platform, that's the way we do it at KnowBe4. You can still combine it with classical training, but in the end, you want to give that user the ability to train when, where, and how they want themselves. And there's one thing you need to remember. Training in itself, that's cool, but that's just providing knowledge. And providing knowledge isn't enough, because providing knowledge doesn't see how, or doesn't enable that user per se to have secure behavior, to make smart security decisions. So you need to also move into that realm and understand knowledge in itself doesn't give good behavior. You need to focus on that behavior. That's what you need to do. And in order to do that, there's three realities. The first one is, just because somebody's aware doesn't mean that he cares. So make sure you motivate that person and tell them what's in it for them. Make sure he understands why he's doing it, and he's not just doing it to get a completion rate. It's not all about ticking the boxes. And the second thing is, make sure that you do it in a way that people actually like to be trained, because that motivates them. If somebody likes to be trained via mobile, he wants to watch a video on his mobile phone, that's fine. Make sure he's able to do that. If he wants to do that while going home on the bus, commuting, fine, make sure he's able to do that. Facilitate that person to do the training in the way that he or she does it best. And the third thing is, keep focus on what your employees do rather than what they know. Yes, we need to provide that knowledge. That's important. But in the end, it's about changing their behavior to become more secure, allowing them to make smarter security decisions. So don't only rate them on how well they scored on a test, but rate them on how well they do in the actual workplace, doing their job. That's where it counts. Lastly, there's a couple of ways to train people. One of the ways which we really see working is if we nudge them in their correct direction. You don't want to do an all-out campaign where you have 3 hours in a classroom and they're totally exhausted when they come out. They won't remember everything you taught them. It's better to do incremental trainings, micro sessions, 5 minutes at a time, twice a month, or even once a month throughout the whole year. That's how you train people. And one of the tricks that we do is we create cheat sheets. Things like this little social engineering red flag sheet, which is something you can just print out, or you can put it up as a poster, or you can send it to people, and people can read it at their own convenience. It's a cheat sheet they can use later on. If you want this one, it's actually pretty handy. There's 22 social engineering red flags, 22 ways that somebody can recognize a social engineering attempt. If you want this picture, if you want this infographic, that's the word, let us know. We're more than happy to send it. contact me through LinkedIn or contact your partner and we can actually get this to you. You can start using it. So, in the end, make sure you focus on training. Make sure you focus on behavior. Make sure you embed the organization and get the approval of the organization. It's not that difficult. Just start doing it one step at a time. You'll see you'll be successful. Make sure you train people. Make sure you fish to do automated phishing tests to see if they actually understand what you've trained them, analyze it, and give that back to the organization. If you keep continuing this loop, you'll see you'll be more successful. So that was it from my side. If there are any questions, please feel free to use the chat box. Pretty easy to do. We'll try to get to them throughout the demo or otherwise get back to you later on. From my side, this is it. I'll hand over the baton to my colleague Hesham. I'll stop sharing. There we go. Hesham.
Hello, everyone. Yes, of course. I will start sharing my screen. Are there any questions? Because we have a comment box.
See that a guy that wants the 22 flags. We'll make sure they get it. That's the first one. Again, if you have any questions, feel free. We're here now.
Perfect. In the meanwhile, if we can launch a poll and ask if there is within your respective organization a security awareness practice, or do you receive simulated phishing emails? In the meanwhile, we're going to be starting with the demo. It's a 5-10 minutes demo. So disclaimer, the Know Before platform is elaborate, but it's also small. So I will show you only the highlights. And if you want to have a personalized demo, which takes a little bit longer, feel free to reach out to Twinkle and we can set this up. So whenever you start off and log in into your Know Before platform, the first thing you're going to be seeing is your dashboard. This Know Before logo can be customized to your respective organization logo. And in addition to this, we have more customization possibilities. On the dashboard, the things that pops your attention is your risk score. The platform will calculate it for each individual user, their own risk score based on 5 parameters, which 4 of them are AI driven. So we look if somebody completed his training, has the email been exposed, what is somebody's behavior and their job role, and it calculates their risk score. And this is the average across your whole organization. If you scroll down, you're going to be seeing what your phishing security tests have been doing in the past 6 months, and you're able to dive deeper into this number and to generate more advanced reporting in the reporting section of the platform. In addition to this, you're also able to benchmark your data. As an organization, we are helping over 39,000 organizations globally, so there's no industry in which we are not represented in. And you can easily see, for example, if you're part from your organization, let's say a banking organization with more than 1,000 employees or email users, what we tend to see, the industry average is 47.5%. So 1 out of 2 people roughly will be clicking on a simulated phishing email. And we have proven with our customers that we help, after a year, we are managed to bring this number down to 6.3% with continuous learning. You're able as well to take this number to benchmark it and to show to the management how are you doing in comparison to the global average. One of the first things you're going to be doing in setting up Know Before, setting up the platform, is ASAP, and it will help you to create a plan to automate your security awareness program. And the platform will tell you step by step which steps are needed and which one do you need to take in order to automate your security awareness program. So, for example, if the management, the auditors, or anyone in your team ask you like, hey, what is our plan? What are you doing at the moment in terms of security awareness? It's always difficult to say like, hey, we did some tests and we have a training campaign and we have XYZ in place. With this, you can automatically download this full program with all the tasks that you have done, all the let's say what's called the milestones with date, and explaining meticulously what was done and what was achieved around then. One of the first, as well, what you're going to be seeing in the plan, one of the first things you're going to be doing is adding the users. When you add the users, you're able to add them through a CSV import or through an AD integration. The reason why you have to add the users is because the platform needs to recognize, okay, who are we going to mail or who are the users that needs to be get training. So any user, anytime you import the users, you can as well group them based on specific departments, based on specific locations, and the platform is able to identify this from the AD. In addition to this, you also can create smart groups and group of users based on specific criteria. So now you have added the user, and one of the things that Jelle mentioned during the presentation is a measure to improve. And whenever you're going to roll out security awareness and you're going to send out training, there are a couple of things you need to keep in mind. First of all, you need to understand, okay, what I'm going to train them about. What are the topics that are required? In addition to this, you also have to think about, okay, how I'm going to train them. Are they receptive for training models, or they like to watch video models? In addition to this, you need to train people on the training they need. So there's nothing somebody who works at the finance team has nothing to do with privilege access, and somebody from the reception needs to get some training about visitor management, for example. So we have one campaign that you can run. It's called the Baseline Security Knowledge Assessment, and this will help you. By the way, with any training campaign, any campaign you do, you immediately get a 360-degree view about the percentage of the people who have completed the training. You will have user completion activity graph. In addition to this, you can dive deeper into the user. With this campaign specifically and with this assessment, you're able to assess, okay, per knowledge area, how are the users within my organization scoring? So you're able to identify your strength and as well your weaknesses. And this will help you to create your next campaign. So in this case, let's say this is the console for Kano. They need to train the users more on social media. Whenever I click on social media, it will bring me into the mod store. And the mod store is the world's largest library in terms of security awareness training content. And we have 132 different types of content available regarding social media. And we do not cover only training about social media. We have them categorized based on specific attack factors, the popular topics, regulations, and as well the risk management. And under risk management, we have the code of conduct, anti-harassment, and more HR-related trainings. You're able as well to, on the platform, we have over 1,300 unique types of content. Keep in mind, at KnowBe4, when we're talking about 1,300 unique type of content, is each content is unique. Some other vendors, what they tend to do, if they have one video in 10 languages, they count it as 10, while we count it as 1. You're able to filter the types of content. So we have posters, we have games, we have video models, we have training models, we even have mobile first models specifically designed for mobile phones. In addition to this, you can as well filter based on the languages. So in Arabic, we have over 214 different types of content available. So they're available in Arabic and English. So the user can choose in which language he or she wants to do it.
Hesham,
yes?
we have a question here from Sugad.
Yeah, I saw it for the live scenario. I will get to it.
Yeah, sure, please.
Yeah. In terms of the training, we have Kevin Mitnick. For the ones that do not know Kevin Mitnick is the world's most famous hacker. If you have watched the movie Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio, it was about the MasterCard forger. Kevin Mitnick is basically his counterpart, and he is like, let's say, the inventor of social engineering, they say. And Kevin Mitnick's security awareness training is really nice. The reason why is it gives the user a broad training about security awareness training, and he shows social engineering from 2 angles: from hacker angle, a bad actor, and as well from victim angle. In addition to this, we also have award-winning publishers and award-winning series. So one of a series that we have created is called Inside Man. It's a Netflix quality series. You have to watch it. You have to compare it with House of Cards or Castle of Papel. And the user is watching a series while the sub-message of the series is security awareness training. This series is from such a quality that even season 1 of the series at the moment is on Amazon Prime, and season 2 and 3 is exclusively on KnowBe4. You can easily add any training you see into your library. You can rebrand some of the content, and you can also upload your own content and use the KnowBe4 platform as an LMS. When you go into the training aspect, you can create a training campaign in less than 2 minutes. You define the campaign name, the start date, the relative duration. You decide which content you want to add. You can enroll all the user or specific groups. So specific groups are meaning like specific departments. So if you're going to be targeted training for specific users about a specific topic, you're able to do this. And you can also set up notifications, so notification that the user will receive that he or she needs to start a training. In addition to this, you can also escalate reminders to the manager of that specific user, and the admin of the portal can also receive email who are the users who have completed the training. So the user will be guided into the training environment where they can do the training. This training environment is available in multiple languages, including English and French and Hindi. We're working on an Arabic translation at the moment. The Know Before logo can be customized to your organization logo, as well as the coloring. The user can see the training progress, and they are able to change the language in which they want to do the training in. Any training that they have finished will be added into the library. In addition to this, you're also able to push out company policies and have them acknowledged by the users. When somebody finishes a training, they're able to download a certificate, and these certifications can be as well customized. We try to incentivize the users so they can earn badges based on completion, and you're able to enable disable this. And last but not least, you can create a competition. So imagine you have an organization and you can group users based on specific groups, and then you can make them compete against each other. For example, the finance team versus the HR team versus the IT team in terms of campaign completion. So you can make it a kind of a competition. If there are any questions about the training, feel free to add to the chat. For Sugat, in terms of phishing, you're also able to conduct multiple phishing campaigns. You can do unlimited amount of phishing campaigns. We do not face any restriction or a maximum or maximum that you can reach. So any phishing campaign that you do, you can immediately see which phishing campaigns you have going on. Each campaign, you can immediately see what is the phish prone percentage. Phish prone percentage is the percentage of the people within your organization that are clicking on a simulated phishing email or clicking on a simulated phishing email. And the aim is to decrease this number, and this is being done by training, of course. You can see exactly what is the phish prone percentage, the failures by day, as well the failures in the first 8 hours, because those are the most critical hours in any phishing campaign that is out there. And you can also see per IP in a map from which IP address location it was clicked. In addition to this, you can also dive deeper into this campaign, and you can immediately see who has been opened, how many times it was sent, opened, clicked, opened the attachment, or even enter data. Entering data happens when you prompt somebody, sending out a phishing email. He or she will click on the link. They will go to a spoof domain to a fake landing page, basically, in which the domain is spoofed, and they will think that's Outlook or Office 365 or any login page. They will put in their credentials, and they will see, hey, you failed the test. So they failed twice. They clicked and they entered their credentials. And users that are reporting it through the Phish Alert button. So we enable the users in terms of training and in terms of recognizing a phishing email. But then you need to start thinking, okay, how will they flag it for you? So with the Phish Alert button, they can click on it and they will flag the email, and they're going to be receiving one out of the two messages if it's a real phishing email or a simulated one. And if it's a real phishing email, we, in addition to this, have a tool called PhishER. It's part of the platform, and in this part of the platform, you can analyze the reported emails. In terms of the phishing, you can conduct a campaign. You can browse through the templates that we have. So we have you can create your own templates. In addition to this, we have over 10,000 different templates, and we have them categorized based on specific events. So as Jelle said, COVID is used a lot. So we have over 87 different types of COVID templates. Any templates you see, for example, here, this apply for a COVID certificate, and you think, okay, this looks really good, but we are in Bahrain and .com doesn't work. We need .ph. So for example, you can click on any of the templates we have, and you can customize it to a full extent. So you have a complete editor. You are also able to change the subject, to add an attachment. You can add any organization picture into it. So for example, and sorry, Kanu, that I'm using your logo. So, but you can easily add your organization logo. You can make it bigger or smaller. You can add the complete body of the email. Anything you see here with red are those social engineering indicators, and you are able for the users to see them whenever they failed a test. So let me save this one, social engineering indicators. If there are any questions, feel free to to put them in the chat. So we just have customized this template. You can see it. Sorry if it's being done fast, or the Kano Elite logo. As an admin, you can see the red flag, so you can see what gives it away as a phishing email. But the user will not see this whenever they receive the email. And I'm a user, and I think, hey, I need to click on it. So whenever I click on it, I will be guided into a landing page where I can see the respective email that they've received and the reason why it's a phishing email. Based on my internet browser, it will detect the language, and it can also automatically open this in Arabic if it's required, or the user can change this. In addition to this, the templates, we also have a look, okay, what is going on in the world. So we have something called the reported phishes of the week. So these are the most accurate and the most current phishing emails that are being used by the bad persons. It's not all about phishing. So we also have newsletters that we send out. And these newsletters, you can easily customize them. So if you want to send out a reminder or a bi-weekly newsletter about the latest threats, you're able to do this. And we have them based on specific industries and specific topics, like IT topics, mail notifications. And we as well have Arabic content. And in the Arabic content, we have over 165 different types of emails in which you can choose from which one to send, or you can randomize them. And we as well have the Google, and we have the Netflix. So this one was one of the famous Netflix templates that was being used. We also have this on our platform. And in terms of the landing pages, we have different landing pages and where the user can land on. So it can be error 404, or it can be an email where a login page where they need to log in. And to show you at last, we as well have the reporting capability. So you have over 20 pre-built reports in which you can, for example, have a look, okay, within my organization, I want to know how many hours of training have been spent. You can easily see this. You can dive deeper into the numbers. You can also select this based on the user groups. We can compare trained versus untrained users, and as well, you can create group report cards for specific departments. Do not forget, within the KnowBe4 platform, you have access to security roles, meaning you can give specific read and write access to specific parts of the platform and as well to specific data. So think about that. The head of finance can only see the results for the finance for his finance team, instead of seeing everything for the complete organization. This is a mini demo of KnowBe4. I hope I answered all questions. Can you send me the free phishing alert button screen? Yes, so we have the fish alert button. You can already get this from our website, and the fish alert button looks like this. So I will get back to you about this question. Scenario. Are there any questions? I give the word now to Twinkle.
Yes. So I think, yeah, we don't have much questions. So team, we suggest, you can write to us if you have any questions that you may feel to ask, so that we will try to answer this. I think we are almost done, right, Hasham?
Yeah.
Almost, yeah. So I thank you all of each one of you for joining us, today. And thank you so much, Jelle and Hasham, for taking us through this session in a very comprehensive manner. We will be coming back to you. A couple of questions we've already received. We will be getting back to you with those, the answers and the updates. And if someone feels like, you wanted to have, test the solution, Hasham, can you just talk about a little bit about our kind of a testing, like someone wants to do a phishing test,
Okay.
and see, would be great.
Twinkle, for everyone, I think I just released a poll within my organization or the organization I work with. We have a security awareness training platform in place. It's completely anonymous. If you can just press yes or no, so I have a feeling, okay, what the maturity level is in the room, and according to what Twinkle said about the phishing security test. So with the KnowBe4 platform, you can do phishing simulation and training. So as Kano is one of our platinum partners in the region, you are able to get a complimentary phishing simulation test within your organization, in which you are able to have an overview about your actual fish prone percentage. We as well going to share with you the numbers of the industry average that you work in. We will share with you a list of the users who have failed that specific campaign, and you are free to decide, okay, to which extent do you want to go? Do you want to have a landing page where they fill in their credentials and get a 404 page, or you do not want this? We will be talking with you. We will be discussing, okay, which phishing template you're going to be sending out. We will be doing this, and we will be sharing with you the details. This is a process that will take 1 week in terms of from day one till finishing the test. This will be together with Canoe and part of our technical team. And normally to do a phishing simulation test from a third party or to have it done, it is between $1,000 to $1,500, and this one will be done complimentary.
Yeah, that's great, Sham. So feel free to reach us if you think that you would like to conduct this assessment test. We will be helping you out with that. Even someone thinks that if you want to do a POC in your environment to see the entire the capability of the before Carnival Elite team can help you with that as well, not a problem. So I think we are approaching our timelines. So thank you so much, Jalay and Hisham, spending so much time with us. So we will come back to you, in case of any further questions that we may have. And we thank all of you to join us, in the last 1 hour. So feel free to reach to us in case of any questions. So thank you. Thanks once again.